Would you like to live your best life possible, regardless of your imperfections? Discover cutting-edge tools and inspiration to let go of your limitations and expand your life beyond what you've ever imagined. On Imperfect, Brilliance, we help you tap into your unique gifts and talents, uncovering and letting your brilliance shine. Join certified facilitator and coach Betsy McLoughlin as she delves into different areas of your life to get unstuck and create the life that is truly possible for you. Betsy has changed her life by utilizing the tools and techniques she is sharing with you. What if your willingness to acknowledge your brilliance is the catalyst to creating a new reality? When you stop judging you, what else can you create in your life and in the world? Join Betsy live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern to create magical and joyous possibilities for an hour of laughs, questions, tips, and more. We are excited to contribute and play with you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Imperfect Brilliance. I am your host, Betsy McLoughlin, and I have the absolute honor and privilege of welcoming my guest today, Rachael O'Brien. So welcome, Miss Rachael.
Can I be given that intro by everyone?
Yes.
That would make my whole life and everything just so much more fun.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. You know, that I love you asked that question because even, when somebody gets greeted by their dog, we laugh about it when certain animals they're so excited. You walk out of the room and you come back in and they're like, oh my God, where have you been? I've missed you so much. I love you. Right. And it's like, if everybody would greet you like that, how different the world would be.
Well, it's so funny. I mean, we generate business different and we use our psychic, which is awareness, to our advantage. And you don't know this because I haven't told you. My daughter's just adopted a Rottweiler, and all she's been sending me, she's 27, and all she's been sending me for the past few days, we have a channel called Brucey's Love Channel because his name is Bruce. she said Brucey's Love Team, that's the name of our channel. And the amount of joy that this dog is after bringing into her life, it's like it's so incredible. And she told me this morning, she just got a promotion at work, and she told me this morning that just by him being in her life is after creating a different energy in her life.
Wow. That is so amazing. Wow. So before we jump too much into the subject, I would love for you to tell everybody a little bit about you, Miss Rachael O'Brien.
So my name is Rachael O'Brien. I was born in Ireland. I'm Irish, one of the leprechauns. And I grew up in the second smallest city in Ireland, and didn't come from a family that was oriented in business. Came from a very, rough area town, not your typical Irish setting. Grew up with a single parent mom, and literally from a very young age really knew that something greater was available and didn't know how to access a choice to create a better future, is what I would say. And one of the things that actually rocks my world today is that we can give people tools and education and support so that they know they can always be greater. And who I am in the world and the topic of our show today are interconnected.
Wow. Well, I do happen to know that you are also an Access Consciousness certified facilitator. You are a Joy of Business facilitator as well. And you travel the world, you facilitate classes, you contribute to so many different people in so many different ways. And of course, I always love talking to you, listening to your beautiful Irish accent, and how fun that you are from just such a beautiful, gorgeous land. And I did not know that about your history with where you grew up. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, because everyone assumes because you're Irish, you grew up on a farm, you know?
Right.
And yeah, and they really do, because our agriculture is one of our main industries.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't the case. I grew up in the inner city concrete, jungle. We didn't have apartments in Ireland, but we had small houses. And it like the 70s, very little work. My mother, at that stage, you just got a payment off the state. It was wrong to actually leave a relationship. So due to Catholicism, and you stay in your marriage no matter what. I mean, this is only under 50 years ago. So a lot of rules, a lot of regulations, a lot of covert points of views. And now to watch the transformation in the world in my lifetime, and Betsy, I know you've seen this too.
Wow.
The level of transformation that has been available to me, looking at my mother as a woman, she didn't have that availability of choice and global awareness and global engagement that we now have available for us today.
Wow, that's really amazing. And so what you're talking about actually does fit beautifully into what our topic is today, which is choose today what will create a better life tomorrow. Wow. And so with that, talking about where you started from to where you are today, were there times in your life where you thought you would never be able to create a better life?
Yeah, there were, for sure. I mean, I didn't really plan to have kids. It was something that was kind of like an automatic response, and got pregnant at 20, and before I knew it, had 3 kids at 27. I was in a marriage that was like, it was more like I was the mother of the whole house. So I actually did get very depressed when I had my 3rd child, because I recognized then that I had made choices, these children that I adored and I had so much kindness and so much love, that I hadn't made choices from the space of awareness and presence with the future that I would create, that it was a very automated template. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And it's so funny, we talk about consciousness, and when we talk about consciousness, if you're coming across the show and you're like, what's consciousness? Consciousness is this process that you can use to overcome any limited or stuck place in your life that will allow you to actually generate a life that actually invites you to live. And it is this elegance, this miraculous capacity for transformation that I hadn't received the level of change ever before these tools in my life.
I love that, what you just said. And could you give us a little bit more information on that, please?
Yeah. So one of the concepts, and I say concept because if it's your first time coming across it, one of the concepts of access consciousness is you're an infinite being. Now, for me, when someone says you're an infinite being and you have infinite choice, so I actually didn't have that as a sensation or a feeling of the embodiment of having another choice. For me, I felt I had no choice, that I had to do parenting from a certain way, that I had to be a mother from a certain way, that I had to be a wife. And one of my big personality traits was I had to look after people. So I had this very fixed personality that wasn't really fun, and that I had trained into. And this whole concept of, I had this no choice universe, and then I go to my first access class and I'm told you have choice. And I'm like, no, I don't have choice. And for me, if you're listening today and it's your first time hearing an infinite being has a capacity to choose anything, so that I'm greater than my cultural training, my Catholicism training, programming, that I had all these, and if you don't know what a point of view is, it's a decision that you make about life has to be a certain way, our business has to be a certain way, or you have to be a certain way, and it's always about being right. Whereas consciousness is letting go of all fixed lies, all decisions, and it's like it takes off the blinkers from a horse, and it turns your head another way, so you're like, actually I can choose something greater here. It doesn't have to be like this. And the journey from no choice to choice is something that has continuously unfolded for me. It's not something that just went, and I'd like to hear what this is for you. It's not something that just went, bam, now you're an infinite being, Rachel, boom. Got my wings, flap, flap.
That's great. Well, what you just said, the journey from feeling like you had no choice to infinite choice is quite an adventure, isn't it?
Oh, that's a really lovely way of putting it. You know, if something isn't working in your life, and Father Frank Rohr, he was a spiritual teacher in America. He wrote a load of books. He said, pain that's not transformed is transmitted. And I remember reaching a point in my life where I was like, I cannot blame anyone for the choices unconscious that I've made. I've got to step up and take ownership. If I'm going to be the master of my life, I have to take ownership of everywhere that I created from unconscious points of views. In other words, not being present with the future that these choices will create.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I had a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine about, you know, the different things in my life that I have chosen. And then she was talking about for her where you haven't been present, you know, where you've gone to just like either just the automatic, you know, and of like really not that sense of not being present. And it's like, how many times have you gotten in the car and the next thing you know, you're at your destination and you're like, God, where was I? What was I just doing? I was not present, you know. And it's just like, where do you go so we had this amazing conversation about checking out, you know, and what do you do? And what are the different things that you might put into your life that you're doing to check out? And then when you realize, hey, choosing that does not serve me, you know, and it's like counterintuitive and totally against what I desire to create. And so our conversation today about creating today for, you know, what you would like to create for your today, tomorrow, the future is really, you know, it's amazing to me how everything always ties together so much more than you might think when you think you're just having this one conversation and then you're like, oh yeah, you know, and like it just kind of ties all together. So that's kind of neat.
It does. I mean, years ago, if we talked like this, people would say we're crazy. The reality is, for thousands of years, scientists and philosophers, Einstein said you can live one or two ways in life, as if nothing is a miracle, or as if everything is a miracle. And I remember hearing that years ago, and I'm like, I'm going to go for the everything is a miracle. I mean, a miracle is something that doesn't fit into this reality.
Right.
It's something that, and it's something that doesn't fit into the rules and regulations of what creation or generation is in this reality. And for me, I have to be honest, I have received so much shifts in perception. I mean, as you say now, I have a global business that's, you know, we get to be translated all over the world. We can go anywhere. I mean, in any given day, we're in the middle of COVID-19, which brings its own challenges. Life will never be the same again. Like, people think that you're going to go back and that's not the way it is. I'm talking to a lot of friends that are in business right now, and business ain't going to be the same. It's a very different, it's a very different world now. We will live very different, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I think where you got to start with with anything in life is take a look at, and this is what you're saying, coming out of automatic pilot. Take it, like the two tips that I would give anyone is take a look at today, like what would you like your life to be like? Like really, what would you like? Forget about anyone else, what their template is.
Yes.
What would you like your life to be? Yeah.
Absolutely.
What would you like your life? I love your enthusiasm. What would you like your like what would you like your life to be like in the future? And then like what can you put in place today to actually create that? So for me, every single morning on my computer, and these questions came from Gary Douglas, who is the founder of Access Consciousness, and we adore him because he has been there and I suppose invited us to the greatness of who we can be continuously, you know. So write these down and ask it every day. What would I like my life to be like, you know, future, now and the future? And then what is it that I love to do that can create that life? Like for me, I hadn't reached the type of business that incentivized me to create and generate the way that I'm motivated now or inspired. Okay. So when I started facilitating access consciousness to bars, now particularly, I'm going to say it, I have a favorite. My favorite class to facilitate is the Business Done Different. This class is true transformation and true transpiration, that you can create a different future, whereby people come in thinking that they can't do business because of, this is my definition, it's only for guys, it's not for women, you know, like they come in with all these definitions of business, and then they start to recognize that all their thoughts, their decisions that they've made about themselves not being enough are not true. And for me, business is about change. I mean, what's it for you, Beth?
Wow. It just totally, and so much of what you said, there was just so many pearls in there. Thank you, Rachel. So if your life is a continual exploration and journey, and it's putting into place today what you would like for the future, and you talked, you know, a little bit about, like, it's almost like putting your order in, you know, like, right, you walk up to the sandwich counter and you say, okay, I would like a BLT, extra tomato, you know, light on the mayonnaise, you know, make my bacon really crispy, right? You're very specific. So what if you actually did that with your life and what you would like to have? And, you know, as I've been playing with that and seeing how things actualize, it's really been fun. And using those, you know, those questions that Rachel shared and many, many, many more has really helped and contributed to me getting out of the mindset that, and the automatic pilot that I used to function on, and feeling like I was, and I mentioned this on the show before, but it's about feeling like I was in the hamster wheel of life, you know, and it's like, same day, different, you know, just, oh God, really, is this all there is? I don't feel like that anymore. And I'm so grateful for that. And I know it's, you know, it was from my choice and demand that, hey, this isn't fun and something's got to change. And then finding these questions and these tools and the, you know, being able to play with amazing people like you, Rachel, and, you know, facilitate and empower people, and all of that together, and the beautiful body processes that we're so fortunate to enjoy. All of those things together and way more, right, are what is creating the future that we desire.
you know what? You said so many things there that I was like, that, and that, and that. Okay. So, so I'm going to go back one step and then I go forward. So first of all, you said so many things in there. Okay. So if I truly know that power is not power over, because I grew up, I'm actually, like, I don't really like to say this, but I actually am a very gentle being, also super powerful, but extremely gentle and aware of energies. And for me, there were certain areas in business that I ran away from because I didn't like power over and a lot of control. Now, when I got the tool from Access Consciousness, I empower unlimited, expansive, glorious, exuberant, quick energy. There is no diminishment of self and energy. That tool transformed my life more than anything else. When I got I empower, and I would say that all throughout my day. Now, you said something, you go and you order your bacon, your BLT. I love BLTs. And I was like, can I get my BLT now?
Extra crispy bacon, please.
Exactly. With some cheese and mayo and lettuce and some relish. You've got to, if you're listening to this and you're American, you got to check out this Ballymaloo relish, which comes from Cork. It's an amazing relish made from organic.
What's it called? What kind of relish?
Ballymaloo, Ballymaloo. Oh, you can check it online, but it's Ballymaloo. It's a cookery school in Cork.
Okay.
And
there you go,
very
guys.
Famous. There you go, Ballymaloo. And so basically, my question would be, why wouldn't you get specific on what you would like? There's no rehearsal. Simone Millicent says, the creator of joy business. There is no rehearsal, folks. Money is not the source of creation. You are the source of creation. It's what you be and do with money. It's what you be and do with your life. And the thing about this is that, for what reason? Because for me, you said it, I was gone to an automatic pilot restaurant where you eat what you were given because you were hungry, you know? And you should be happy with it, you know? And I wasn't, because if you look at this, this ability and amazing and magnificent capacity for generation and creation, you are not going to be happy when you're suppressed into having the same thing every day, you know? Particularly, what lights me up is I'm a social being. Some people are quiet beings. I'm a very social being. And you said to see someone's eyes light up, to see them empowered with business, with money, you know, one of my things, what I love about working for myself is that nobody controls me. It's one of my favorite energies or aspects of the generation of my life, that it all ends with Rachel, it all starts with Rachel. I am the source of creation. What am I using my energy for? Am I putting my energy into what I require? Now, this is the thing. If you get this from this call alone, we're not actually invited to be successful. We're not invited to place that order. We're not invited to actually be arrogant enough. That's looked at some weird arrogance that you can have everything. So one of the things that I had done is that I made myself wrong for always asking for more. And then I met Gary Douglas, who has the point of view that there's no such thing as not enough. His point of view is, if you're willing to have more, it's always there. That's his functioning point of view, you know? And that to me was there's always more, and I'm not wrong in judging myself that I would like more. Now, if I'd have known 8 years ago what would transpire and what would become available by using the tools I've shown up in my life and getting very present with what I would like to have as my life, for what reason wouldn't I get clear on what works for me? And you said something, working with people that function from gratitude, that function from creation. And it's like running a relay. Like the people that I work with, it's like running a relay race continuously, like fast, pass the ball, pass. And it becomes so much fun that your clock ticks at 7 minutes to 3 CET time, and it's your friend and colleague Betsy saying, "Hey, we've a radio show in 7 minutes," because you're no longer, or the alarm goes off for the meeting, because you're no longer in a job, bored, looking up at the clock, going, "When's the time to get home?" You now are in meetings with people. Like we have the same targets, for life. I mean, this is how come we move together. This is how come we create together. Is that we would like a world where everybody knows that they can choose greater, that you don't have to judge yourself anymore. Anyone can do business. Anyone. You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to be a guy in a suit. You don't have to be, from a wealthy family that sends you to Ivy League colleges. You know what? You can actually generate. You are the source of creation, and you can press the reset button at any time.
Yes. Wow. So true. And, it's so funny. I will start doing a project, and of course, then I'm doing 20 other projects and going back and forth.
Or 100.
Right? You have so many tabs open on the window, on your computer, and you're going back and forth. And the next thing you know, it's like, how is it, 4:00? What happened? And it's just, and it is that space of just having so much fun and fun meetings and conversations. And even when there's something that might not be going the way you want it to go, or you're hitting some frustration or something, it's such a different place to be than when I worked in a corporate environment. And of course, I'm very different. And even, I know now that even if I was still in a, kind of stereotypical corporate environment, I know that it would be way easier for me, because I'm choosing to have my life be way easier. And I don't react to things like I used to, and all of those things that you may think they're little, but when you add them all up, it's this beautiful concoction for your life of what you are creating. And what you might think is this very minuscule, little, insignificant thing could be the catalyst that changes everything.
And I'm so grateful that you brought this up, because one of the things that drastically changed for me is that when I started to really care about Rachael O'Brien, and when I made me valuable, and my heart and my kindness and my caring and my positivity valuable, that my whole business transformed. Because for whatever reason, I had thought that you have to be tougher in business. And, we say in Access, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be.
Yes.
It was actually my kindness and my presence and my capacity to be with someone and say, "Hey, I thought I was rubbish at business. I had created a lot of financial debt, and the two of us are facilitating a class, Actually Get Out of Debt Joyfully, and the book. I genuinely had this point of view that I couldn't change the debt that I had got into, made uneducated choices with money, and really, isn't it funny, when I started to care about myself and make choices that where I had my own back and not buying into anyone else's reality or viewpoint of how they looked at, particular subject or how I should live. Because folks, if you're out there, people will always give you their opinions of how they think you should live your life. But this for me is like, is that relevant to you? And for what reason? Nobody else can tell Betsy what's going to work for Betsy. No one can tell, even if it's Gary Douglas, who I adore and inspires me, he still doesn't ever tell Rachael O'Brien what's going to work for her. He's like, you have to get to that yourself.
It's so true. And it really, I can think of so many different examples of that in my own life, where I might have wanted to change something or choose something, but until I actually decided to do it, it's like trying to move a mountain. It's not going to happen. So, but once you make that decision and that choice, we've used that C word a lot in this conversation, and it's like, there are many places where I did not think I had choice. Yeah. And, so I would love to bring that into this conversation just a little bit here. And it's where, and I know we're just about to go to our break, so I'm thinking maybe we'll wait until after to start this conversation. And all right, you guys. So you're listening to Imperfect Brilliance with Betsy McLoughlin and Rachael O'Brien, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes. Thanks for listening.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
do you remember we talked about the little C word? Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my absolute joys is to facilitate body classes. And
yes,
because so many of us have locked how we walk through the world. We walk with physiological points of views and psychological points of views that we've inherited, and these body processes unlock, anywhere where you might have automatic responders with fear, upset.
Mm-hmm.
When I say the word money, how does your body, react to that? Or you talked about reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So they take you out of reaction and they put you into presence.
Yes.
Where so the way that I function with business now, people around me that work with me, they are blown away. I don't ever really do upset. If I do, it's like rare and probably 2 minutes. I have this level of trust in what I know and what I can create. And so I wasn't like that. I was a little stress queen. I thought I was on my own. And it's like all of that stress it's no longer visceral. It is, I can talk about this. It is no longer a visceral reality I've embodied for me. So one of my choices was to become a 3-day body facilitator, and I love to facilitate. Now, I opened out the map and I said, where would you like to go? And the Netherlands popped. And lo and behold, within the space of 24 hours, ask and receive, it's in the Bible, ask and receive. Didn't a place to live show up? A friend of mine was moving to New Zealand for a couple of months, and I had an apartment within the space of 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's amazing. Talk about a choice that's creating for a better tomorrow. Holy moly.
Right? So anyway, within the space of another 24 hours, there's 8 classes created in the Netherlands.
What?
Right? Yeah. A friend of ours, another Joy business facilitator, Bet, we're doing an Access Business and Money, body classes, foundation classes. So for me, one of the things that allows me to be more of me, and also I adore money and the ease of money and paying people and the fun of, you can either see money as a weapon or a vehicle for change. And it took me a while to get to the energy of vehicle for change. Yay! So this choice is already after changing futures for me. There's a different psyche. Yeah, there's a different psyche in the Netherlands. They're very open. There's a graw. We say in Ireland, a graw means a heart. There's a graw for more, and that's not necessarily the energy in the UK. The predominant energy at the moment, or in Ireland. The psyche in Ireland is a little bit slower. Now there are a few people. I love to facilitate. It's fun for me. I'm out in the world. Please write this down. What do you love to do? And for what reason would you not? I'm willing to go anywhere. So for what reason would I not jump, off the cliff? And
that's amazing and exciting. And what I would like to, while you started talking a little bit about money, and Rachael and I would love to invite you guys to a couple of creations that we have created together. So excited about this. And it is based on the book, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, written by Simone Milasas, who, when she first discovered the tools of access consciousness about, I'm not even sure how many years ago for her.
19, I think.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I think it's around 20 years. So 20 years ago, she was $187,000 in debt. And she had kind of dynamically refused to use the tools in the area of money. And she was using them in other parts of her life and really seeing a huge change. And then she was like, why am I not doing that? So she started, using the tools, and within 2 years she was out of debt. And that's just, to me, such an inspiration. And so, fast forward all these years later, and for many years she was the worldwide coordinator for Access Consciousness and contributed so much to the growth of the company, and it's now in 173 countries, and there's tens of thousands of facilitators, and it's just, it's just so inspiring to see this. And her whole entire financial reality has changed, and she wrote a book, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, and she's also the founder of The Joy of Business, which for a lot of people is almost like an oxymoron. It's like, how can you be joyful and be a business? And so, right, we are. And her point of view is, hey, if you're breathing and you wake up in the morning, you're in business. Whether you are creating money yourself or you're contributing to somebody else who does or whatever, like, it's the business of your life. Right? So
it pokes people so much because they have so many definitions. Ask yourself this: how many definitions do I have of business? And if I had no definitions, what could I generate?
Love it. Yes. So with that, we had the honor and privilege of participating in Simone's year-long program. She did it for 3 years, and I was in it all 3 years, and it was such a contribution to me and my finances. And there were many people who took it who had no debt, and it changed their finances, because it goes so beyond money. It really does. It hits every aspect of your life. And it's this just jam-packed book filled with tips and exercises and questions and stories. And it's just amazing. So first up on the docket, I know I'm talking a lot. I'm so excited. Sorry.
I love your enthusiasm.
Is we're doing a book week, a book club, a 12-week book club starting June 12th. And we're going to do 2 sessions a week. And we will, of course, record them all. And you'll get the recordings and the clearings. And, we're just so excited to invite you guys to play with that. And then the other thing we're doing, Rach, I'm going to let you tell them about that.
Oh my goodness me, where do I begin? The Get Out of Debt Joyfully 2.5-day class. I mean, one of my things with this was that I truly had this point of view belief, that I owed everything to everyone around me. It was just this weird point of view I had. So for me, getting out of debt was this sense of that I was indebted to look after everyone. And so it shows up, Get Out of Debt Joyfully shows up. The debt shows up in different ways in your life. And sure enough, this 2.5-day class is beautifully written. And there's a starting piece that Gary Douglas says, when you're willing to be everything, you can have everything. And the tools, just let's say you could open this manual every day of your life for the rest of your life, and you will find one line that will change and transform how you look at you and how you look at the world. And they're packed full of questions, where the questions are literally like you turn in your head to see that there's something else available. And the way it shows up is just so, like, it never shows up the way you think it will. When you sign up to that class, what you're energetically saying is, I am not going to be indebted to anyone or anything. I'm not going to make anything more powerful than me. I am going to step into the magnificence and the glory that I truly be.
Wow.
And I'm going to allow myself to have that living.
Oh, yes, please. Way more of that. So that's starting June 26th. So you guys have some time, and you can check it out. It's on Facebook as an event. And if you have any difficulties in finding it, you can always email myself at accessbetsy@gmail.com, or you could find me on Facebook and message me. You could message Rachael. And Rachael, what is your email and your website?
My website is www.rachelobrien.org, and the email is rachelobrien26@gmail.com, and it's AEL. And you'll find me on Facebook. I do so much on Facebook Lives. I've just started the Insta. So yeah, you'll find me.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. And you can also find us through, right, for sure, babe. Also through the OMTimes website, you'll find a link. So one way or another, you guys can certainly find us. And we're so grateful that you're listening. So we are talking about choice, and I know we're kind of like wandering and meandering all over the place, and it is all,
and that's who we are,
right? And it is all tied together. So we were gonna talk a little bit more about the C word and what that is, and like how dynamically have you in the past resisted against choice?
Oh, a lot.
and funny reaction. Oh.
and even more, how much are you resisting the greatness of you? And would you rather believe that you're good enough than actually shoot for the greatness of you?
Say that again.
So what if today you chose the greatness of you? Like, most people walk around functioning believing they're not enough. But what if the greatness of you is the thing that you're truly avoiding? There's,
I love that. And you, a little earlier, you talked about, like choosing wealth and choosing, right? And so now you're talking about the greatness of you. And how is that all connected for you, Rach?
Just let's take this, right? I think I'm like, I'm 12 stone. And if I take my weight in gold, I weigh 4.5 million. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's my weight. So if I know that I'm worth 4.5 million, how am I going to function in business?
I love that question. I'll have to figure out how much I'm worth in gold.
Okay.
That's so cool. I've never heard that before, Rachel. And
We say it a lot in Ireland. You're worth your
wow.
weight in gold. We say you're worth your weight in gold, or you've a heart of gold.
I've heard worth your weight in gold, but I've never heard the other piece of the like figuring out how much like how much you weigh, and then what that it translates into in gold. And then of course, being American, I don't have a clue what a stone is, but you told us the end result is millions. She's worth millions of dollars in gold, and I think you might have undervalued yourself as well, Rachel.
Thank you. So where this all combines is that unless you recognize you as gold, I mean, for me, I had a lot of abuse in my young childhood, sexual abuse and physical abuse. So I had taken on points of views that I was a piece of crap, I was worthless, I wasn't worth anything, and none of those were my point of views. They were the area I grew up in. They were the people that was around.
Sure.
So when I still had my own back in that I was willing to claim that there was a brilliance in me, and that choice alone and reaching for that was me saying, I am not buying all these lies, these decisions I've made about who I am.
Wow.
I am willing to be greater than that. And in my willingness to be greater than that, all of my 3 children have leaped in how they live and how they generate their lives. And it has trickled out to everyone that I now interact with on a daily basis, it cannot,
It's so true. And that's another piece of the conversation I had with my friend yesterday about, and that's just so funny. That's why I was giggling, where what you choose and the change that you make in your life and how it does trickle out to everybody else.
Yeah. So what Betsy is saying is, what will the world be like as a result of the choices that you're making today? Because for me, I have completely acknowledged that every single engagement that I have today will influence people into empowerment. When I know what's true for me, and I don't require anyone else to validate that, and I'm allowing myself to be the kindness, and when I influence with all the words that I use, with my actions, with how I treat people, with how I treat myself. You treat people how to teach you. And this, whether you know it or not, you influence everyone with your choices that you make. And people don't recognize this. If you're killing yourself with alcohol, then you're influencing those around you with the choices that you make. So this is where we really step up into, a leader is not the CEO or, whatever, the coach or whatever you've defined leadership as. Leadership is you, and I'm the CEO of my life, and Rachael O'Brien is meeting Betsy McLoughlin, the CEO of her life. And if we walk with this awareness, people will have met me 8 years ago and they'll say, hey, do you remember that time? And do you remember that time? Maya Angelou said that people will always remember how you make them feel. And what we're looking to create here is a world of empowerment, not a world of power over.
So beautiful. God, it's so beautiful. And, there is so much, even just political unrest and so many things going on in the world. And I'm always looking at what contribution can I be for something different. And when I feel myself like wanting to jump into the poo pile of whatever's going on, I'm like, okay, wait a minute, is that contributing? Or what can I be or do that is different, that actually is a contribution? And so there's many times where you think that you're all alone, that what does it matter? I'm just one person, I can't make a difference. And then you see all these different people who one little thing, one act of kindness, one different choice in their lives that is a catapult for a completely different reality. And so, I wonder, even for everybody listening, how many different things they're being and in their own lives that they've never acknowledged.
Totally. And a big question that I think COVID has sent us to our rooms to have a little look at what we would like our legacy to be.
Time out.
Exactly. Go have a little, go have a meditation in your room and look at, what you'd like the world to be, what you'd like your life to be. Again, it came back to what I started the show with: pain that's not transformed is transferred. And if you're doing hatred and anger, and I'm not saying by any means that what occurred, with killing, with violence, I'm not saying that that's okay. What I am saying, and I'm being very clear in, is that when we get into reaction and we create more hatred,
yes,
it filters out more hatred. Whereas
when
we step up and say, this is my world, this is the world that I live in. I don't care what color skin you have. I don't care whether you came from Morocco or Tanzania, or you're, in London years ago in the 70s, they say no Irish, no dogs. I don't care whether you're Irish, whatever. When we look at, there is no diminishment of energy as our functioning viewpoint in the world, and we're willing to honor the greatness. Would there be any wars? Would there be any discrimination? Would there be any less than? And I think everyone in the world has experienced diminishment of self in some way. And this is where you have to dig deep, and it may be challenging, and go, how am I treating someone today? When I look at this person, have I got some judgments there? And if so, who do they belong to? And is that who I really want to be in the world?
I love that question. And is that who I want to be in the world? And if you start asking that question before, and if there's anything in your world that's a little wonky, and you ask that question, I wonder if you would choose something different. So, I'm so grateful for this conversation today, Rachael. And, I wonder what choice we all can make today for a better future tomorrow, for the planet, for us, for our children, for our children's children, and so on, for a sustainable earth, happy people. And, what if we all link our arms, and say,
I'm linking.
Like you said, this is our world, and what would we like to leave behind when, we are, nobody even remembers who we are, but we have left an imprint, and what would we like that imprint to be?
There you go. What would I like the imprint to be? And that's a very personal question, and that's something that you have to, that's something that you've got to play with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all different, and, anywhere we're trying to be like anybody else, how does that work for you?
Like never.
Yeah. So Rachael, as we're ending the show today, what would you like people to, play with, or what questions could they ask? Or
for me, I'll come back to the two that I started with. What would I like my life to be like in the future? And what would I have to create that would support that life? And what do I love to do? And then take action. We live in an action universe. It's not difficult. It's not hard. It's who you be. What is it that I can put in place today that would allow that to show up? And if you function from that point of view, with not an investment in the result, the story I told about the Netherlands, it will unfold. There is a magnanimous universe out there
Yes.
With not 10 molecules, not 20, not 50, not 100. Oh yeah, infinite, billions of molecules that are sitting waiting for you to put on the script of what you'd like your life to be.
Yes, way more of that, please, universe. And, again, we will invite you to play with us. If it's fun, light, and joyful in your world at all, come play with us with the Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. And I know that Rachael and I will be creating other things together, or, go check her out on her website, rachelobrien.org. And my website is creatingyumminess.com. And we're just so grateful that you guys took the time to listen to us today, and that we hope that we contributed to you and, what you would like to create with your life and your today and your tomorrow. And how does it get any better than this, Miss Rachael? And what else, truly, 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 what else is possible?
Exactly. And thank you for having me as your guest, and thank you for being in the world and being in my life.
Oh, you're so welcome. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week, and take care of yourselves and be kind to yourselves. And truly, what else is possible beyond anything that you can even imagine? Woohoo! Rachael O'Brien, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great life and enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.